Hey everybody, welcome to Women Blazing Trails. If you watched my last two videos, you'll see that I'm having some super cool guests on my show lately. And I think there's probably it's probably twofold. I think it takes the onus off of me to have to continuously produce good content for you guys all the time. And the second part is that I meet some really cool women in some of the Facebook groups that I belong to that have really powerful stories, like stories different than mine, that I could share with you guys that could help you with what you're going through, because I know the stories that I share with you guys are very empowering because we all seem to have the same kind of background, right? So when I bring on guests, it's a different perspective, and it's another little sort of twist to the things that we already talk about all the time. So today we're talking about something so I should probably say trigger warning, because we're going to be talking about something a little bit sensitive today. We're going to be talking about abuse, sexual, physical. We are talking about abuse and trauma, but we are talking, if you can handle that and stick around and stick with us to the end, we're going to be talking about how we're thriving after abuse, because that's always the main message that I have for you guys is, doesn't matter what you're struggling with or how hard life was, you can be happy. And that's always my message for you guys, is it doesn't matter what you've been through. This is where you can be now. So that's what we're talking about today. So a little bit of a disclaimer. So that's what we're talking about. And then we're going to talk a little bit about her business. So I'm just going to go ahead and introduce my lovely guest for this week. Her name is Hara. Did I say that right?
Darn close.
I did. Hara.
Hara.
I see. I don't have that New York Jewish thing going on.
Right,
so this is Hara, and she is from Miami, but she lives in Idaho now. And I'm just going to let you go ahead and introduce yourself, and then we're just going to roll right into talk about what happened.
Sure, sounds good. Well, I'm 54 and I have two grown daughters, and I'm happily married. And I'm a graphic designer, a photographer, and a podcast host.
Awesome. So take us back. We're going to go right back to the beginning now. And I want it, and you don't feel you have to talk about anything that's uncomfortable. I probably should have said that before we, if there's I'm not going to ask, if I ask you something and you can be like, no, Eva, I don't want to answer that. Just don't be shy.
I appreciate that. But
yeah. I should have probably asked.
But what I love more than anything is people who are willing to be vulnerable and just say it like it is. So you've got the right guest in me if you want to ask a personal question.
Okay, so let's go back to where it all started and how you don't have to go into all I understand. Just go. Yeah.
Well, so the reason I bring it up is because I have found self-love for myself. I found love for myself. But as a kid, 5 and 7, I was sexually abused by a friend of the family. And I have had time to think about it. And I don't know, I was always thinking that my mother didn't do anything about it. And that might still be true, but even if she did do something about it, the boy was still allowed to come over. And so that left me with just this feeling of, I don't matter. And it's my fault.
Sure.
I went to a retreat called Sapria, where if you've been sexually abused as a child, it's a free retreat for 4 days. It was wonderful.
Nice.
And one of the things.
Where was that?
It's in Utah and in Atlanta.
Nice.
Yeah, and somebody from Toronto. Yeah, I think somebody from Toronto was there when I went. Cool. Anyway, it's open to everybody. But what I heard a lot was everybody thinks it's their fault. So that was really comforting, because I spent a lifetime of thinking it's my fault and having shame about it.
Sure.
And thinking my worth was only through my body, not my lovely personality or my, only the way, what I looked like. So struggling with weight was always a problem. And I guess about a decade ago, I went to a counselor who really helped me take responsibility for my actions. which set me on a path to self-love.
Awesome.
So for instance, when I had lent this man like $10,000, all my money, and he didn't pay me back. And at least for every day for a year, I woke up pissed off.
Yeah, no kidding.
But she said, did he hold a gun to your head? Like, I willingly gave him my money. And so when I could take responsibility for what I did willingly, knowing the kind of person he was really, that set me free.
Right.
And so just that kind of roller coastered into this version of me that whether I'm at my heaviest right now, but it doesn't take away the love I have for myself, because I am more than my body. And I used to say it, but now I believe it.
Nice.
Yeah.
And the healing journey is really long and ugly and messy, and it never seems to end, right? Like you're constantly working on either the next trigger or something comes up or some, maybe one day you feel something, you're like, oh, I need to work on that. Like that, you just never stop healing.
But you know what? That's just what I discovered recently. And I don't know why. I kind of always thought I would wake up one day a sophisticated woman and all my healing would be done. Like, but that's so silly. Now, I mean, I realize that I'm always going to be me and I'll always be doing the work. And that's okay. Like that there's I'm not going to wake up one day and be all better and be somehow I just felt like I was going to be sophisticated one day because I would be older, but that just doesn't work.
Wouldn't that be beautiful if I just woke up one morning and all my trauma was gone? I'd be like, thanks God. Well, that was great.
Feel like, I'm always doing the work. So I was always like, that's a problem I had is actually, I was just like, I got to do one more thing and then I'll be healed.
Yeah.
Just learn one more thing.
Right.
And I realized that I'm not broken. I'm perfect the way I am. Everybody has issues, but my mom died when she was 46.
I was going to ask you, I was going to ask you about your mom and how eventually, as you got older, did she acknowledge what happened? Like what happened with that?
So I was only 18 when she passed away and it was never talked about.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. It was never talked about. And I spent a good 30 years being upset with her for a myriad of things until this is so good too. This is a good lesson. I was parenting 2 girls single-handedly. Like she had 6 kids single-handedly, and it was hard. And the more I parented, the more I forgave, and I understood. And also that we hold our parents on this pedestal, which I'm just a girl who had kids. My kids are going to be kids who have kids. My mom got married at 15. She just had no tools and she did the best she could. And she was loving, but in a house full of 6 kids, I assume she just didn't know how to handle the situation.
Sure.
Or she did do something and I just don't know about it because I was so young.
And that's funny that you should say that she did the best she could, because my parents, and they never, we would try, and we just eventually stopped talking. We would try to bring up the abuse. Remember that time you beat me in front of, and she's like, what are you talking about? Don't be ridiculous. And she would completely fluff it off. Never, ever, never acknowledge her or my father. Well, my father, I was so glad when he died, honest to God, but never acknowledged the physical abuse that we endured, not once. And then I got to a point, you just stopped talking. You're just like, whatever. And we just stopped talking about it. And for my healing, I probably was like, I'm sure I was in my late 40s, maybe early 50s when I thought, they're dead. They just did the best they could with what they had. And they didn't know how to raise us because they were beat as children. They're both Italian. So they were raised on farms, beat from their parents, and they just showed us what they were raised with. They didn't have any tools. They didn't know any better. So, I got my healing through forgiveness. I forgave them, and they're dead now. So, you just forgive them, and what else do you do?
Well, one thing that really helped me too was I was introduced to Byron Katie. I don't know if you know who
Oh,
that
yeah,
is.
yeah.
But loving what is really the answer, because wanting something different from the past is ridiculous. It
Yeah.
just is what happened, and not ridiculous, but it's the cause of all your suffering. It really
Yeah,
is.
sure. Uh-huh.
And so to just accept whatever happens is supposed to happen or did happen, that is really a real blessing in my life that I question I question everything and I don't believe anything. I'm
Right.
open to any translation.
Right. So when did your when so because for me and my healing probably didn't start till I was in, I'm going to say like my late 40s, early 50s. I realized, and it was actually my true healing began when I left my last toxic relationship. I think I was 51, and I thought, okay, you know what? Something's got to give here. Like I just can't keep attracting all these toxic partners and not having any love for myself. Like I hated everything about me. I hated who I was. I hated my life. I hated my existence. For me at that time, at 51 years old, when I left my abusive relationship, I had just hit rock bottom. I had closed up a salon. I didn't have 2 cents stripped together. I declared bankruptcy. Like, I mean, my life was a complete mess. And I thought, well, I could either swallow a bunch of pills and go to sleep and just pretend that it's over, or I can actually do something about it. So my healing started like I was in my early 50s when I knew something's got to give. Like
Yeah.
that's enough. So at what point did you realize, okay, I need to do something about my life, like something, we got to do something? When did that happen for you?
So I had a first marriage and then I was single for 13 years and, but with boyfriends on and off. And the very last boyfriend, which was 8 years ago, um, moved in. And then I discovered that he was cheating on me. And I kicked him out the minute I found out.
Good girl.
And that bold move of willing to love myself more than him really set me on, okay, I need some time. I need to really love myself. And then I took about 8 months before I started dating again. And also another interesting thing was I had been dreading 46 my entire life because my mother died at 46. And that is irrational, but very common with women who've lost their parents or their mother. And they just, am I going to die at 46?
Sure.
And anyway, so 46 was kind of a dread, but right before my 46th birthday, I really, truly met the love of my life. I've been married 5 years. We've been together 8. I met him in July 8 years ago.
Aw.
And
I love that.
so the dread of 46 turned out to be my life started at 46.
Yay.
And so I just hope nobody gives up because you just never know what's around the corner.
You don't. Yeah, and when I left my last relationship, when I wrote my Dear John letter, and I didn't have anything. I thought, I don't even know what I was terrified. I didn't even know what I was doing, because here I was at 51 years old. I didn't have 2 cents stripped together. I didn't have a place to go. I didn't have a job. I had nothing. I thought, I got to leap. And it's terrifying, right? Because you're like, oh my God, what am I doing? And I don't fucking know what I'm doing, but I know I have to do it. It doesn't matter what's on the other side. For me at that time, I was really, I don't want to make this about religion, but I really found prayer and God and the universe. And please, just have a net for me. Just have something there for me, because I'm going to jump and I don't know what I'm jumping into. So I literally just put all my faith out there that something was going to catch me.
Yeah.
You have to do that.
Well, I think that's true. I mean, life is so precious and we only have this one life, and there's no, you just got to embrace what comes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I didn't know, like, and I don't know if you know my story, but when I look back now, because at that time there, I was living in Canada. I was a hairdresser. I went back to the old salon that I worked at. She was happy to take me back. I was 52 years old. I still hated my life. I was living to survive. Everything sucked. and I was healing at the same time from all the trauma and abuse my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I completely overhauled my life. And like, so now like I run 2 websites and I live in Guatemala. Like, I mean, I made
Nice.
major life changes. But, you know, at 51 years old, I would have never imagined that this is where my life would have taken me. So you have to, like, you don't know the surprises life has for you when you start to follow your heart and your
Right.
passion and your dreams. And I want to start talking about that now,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that's exactly what you did. So tell us about that.
So actually, I kind of on a whim went to a conference in Toronto and embarrassingly looked up where Toronto was like right before I got on the plane. Like, where am I going? But Seth Godin and Elizabeth Gilbert were going to be speaking. And so I was just like, all
Nice.
right. And I had been doing graphic design for 30 years, almost 30 years at that point, I think. And I was just like, I need to get, re-inspired. And the whole weekend, the conference was about dreaming and being a dreamer. And at the very beginning of the weekend, I was just like, well, they're talking to everybody but me because I have to do graphic design and make money. But by the end of the weekend, I realized that why aren't I following my dreams, which had always been from a very young age. I'd always had a camera in my hand. In high school, I had a dark room. I was very passionate about it. But because of my lack of self worth, I really thought I was too stupid to learn lighting and let the passion die. And so I was a graphic designer for 30 years. But then a couple of years ago, I picked up my camera again and easily learned lighting because I'm not stupid.
You're not stupid.
I'm not stupid. And I'm more well known as a photographer than a graphic designer because it's where my passion lies.
That's
And
awesome.
at 52, I just became a photographer.
So you just did that a
Yeah,
couple of years ago. You just decided, hey, I'm doing this, and
I'm just doing it. In the beginning, I was doing it for free to get a portfolio together. And now, I have had just had a branding photo shoot. I'm doing a wedding this weekend. It's just been, I'm doing a boudoir series this whole month. That's been very fun.
nice. Oh,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
it's been a real blessing because I know it's what I'm supposed to be doing because I can't wait to edit. And I
Right.
know and then the photography, every time I would photograph somebody, we'd have a conversation before so I could get to know them a little bit. And I found that people really open up to me. And so that inspired my podcast called See Beneath Your Beautiful. I think episode 66 comes out this weekend. So it's
Wow.
just been really fascinating talking to people who have gone through some things, but are on the other side and can offer kind of hope. That's the goal of the podcast anyway. And it's just been a
Nice.
really beautiful experience. And also talking to people who have gone through things like, one of the first people I interviewed had cancer and has since passed.
Sorry.
Um, somebody I interviewed has lost a baby right at 40 weeks pregnant.
Wow.
Just everything, but it's made me live so gratefully and with rose-colored glasses because that's how it should be, I think, because seeing the world as it should be is better than seeing the world as it is.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
My friends laugh at me because I was just like, whatever, la, la, la. And I just always rose colored glasses because it just works for me. So
Yeah.
when you, I want you to talk a little bit about because now we're in our 50s and we're still healing, but we've pretty much, I feel like I'm doing pretty good considering, and I'm sure you have. So
Yeah.
when you were going through your healing process and even to this point now, and I know triggers and trauma triggers come up, so how do you deal with, let's talk about that a little bit. Maybe you can talk to some of the women who are listening or watching. How do you deal with your triggers when they come up? I'm not good enough, I'm just my self-worth is shitty, or whatever limiting beliefs pop up. How do you handle those?
I have really learned to talk to myself as if I was talking to my daughters. And that having daughters has helped me understand what that should sound like and feel like. Because, for instance, even like when I'm playing tennis and I miss the ball, instead of saying, miss the ball, I go, oh, good try. Everything I do, I talk to myself the way I would talk to my children.
Good.
You're beautiful. Of course you're trying. I mean, I'm just so encouraging because I'm parenting little Hara, who is still quite alive inside me. And so I just really think it's comes down to compassion and kindness.
Right.
And, I do waver sometimes, but then I remember, like, I even had a coach once have me, talk about my belly and be honest about how I felt about it. And then see it from the belly's point of view. And that totally changed my thinking about my belly. Because every time I think about, like, oh, I don't like the way my belly looks, I can see my belly going, but I'm part of you, but I love you, but I want you to love me. Like, it's just all about compassion.
That's
And
awesome.
again, life is so short. I'm not going to waste it hating my belly,
Yeah.
So I mean, it just really comes down to that. It comes down to being as kind as you would to any little girl.
Right. I had to have that conversation with my face because I have like these wrinkles and I have like this thing going on.
Me too.
And I'd look in the mirror and I'd be like, what's happening to my, yeah, I feel like, oh my God, because I'm almost 60, right? So I look in the mirror and then now I can look in the mirror and go, Eva, you're beautiful.
Absolutely.
Just leave it at that. Eva, you're
Right.
beautiful. You had your time when you were 25. You were gorgeous and hot then. Now you're gorgeous and hot in a 60-year-old body. So, like, that's all it is.
Right.
You're just
Right.
gorgeous and hot in a different way. So, I want to ask you
100%.
if you like, if a woman, let's say, because I wasn't sexually abused at a young age. I was by my later on, but that's another story.
Mm-hmm.
So, what would you tell women who have still deal with that low self-esteem, low self-worth, feel that their body is just used as a sexual thing because they had trauma from sexual abuse? What
Mm-hmm.
can you say to them, if you could, just to help them, make them feel a little bit better or stronger or more empowered?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I'm not a professional. I
Mm,
would honestly say to seek professional help because, and there are amazing coaches and counselors and therapists. There are also not amazing ones, but if you can find somebody who can speak your language and help you understand, I don't think I really believed that everybody had value
mm,
until late 40s. Like, I thought you had to be deserving of it. Like, just because you're born, you're worthy. But yes, worthy is such a weird word. You are worthy, just worthy's not even a thing.
yeah.
You are deserving of love. And if not, you're not getting it from the outside world, give it to yourself. I
And I,
mean,
sorry.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's all. I mean, just that's it.
And and worthiness, actually, it is a weird word, but it's one that, and I find, and I just wrote an article about this, especially women over 50, we don't feel worthy anymore, whether we're survivors of abuse or not. We just don't feel worthy anymore because I'm taking this off in a little bit of a different direction, but we'll get back to, because the media glorifies beauty and Botox and implants and gorgeous skin, and everything's got to be beautiful. And it's all these 25-year-olds or 40-year-olds who've injected, and everybody's gorgeous. So for us who are over 50 and don't buy into that whole, I'm going to stick needles in my face and get breast implants, we don't feel worthy because some of us still feel like we're in competition with a 25-year-old self or other woman, and our self-image, I had this talk just recently, our self-image is horrible because we don't feel worthy. And so many, especially for myself, for when I was 51 and just left my relationship, what do I do now? Who am I? I'm nothing. I'm
Yeah.
nothing now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We have nothing that validates us or makes us feel like we belong to something greater. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So,
But we're so not what we look like. That's the key. We are not what, we are our passions, it's our light shining through. That's who we are. And I don't know how to teach that to somebody, but that's the answer to self-love. And I can say from photographing people that it doesn't matter if you're skinny or fat or tall or skinny or young or old. There is a prevalent a prevalence of lack of, I'm not beautiful enough, of comparison. And
Yeah.
if you didn't know anybody else, if you had never seen anybody else, wouldn't you be just fine in the mirror? Because there's nothing to compare yourself to. So I think that's also helpful. I
That's
don't
really
know. I
that's really
tell you,
awesome.
I am having the best sex of my life with my husband.
You go, girl.
At the heaviest weight I am, and 54 with, like you said, I mean, I don't wear makeup half the time. And so, you just got to, it's the difference between, I feel like, standing up straight and hiding, because the most beautiful people are just the ones who are sure they're beautiful. It's not they look a certain way. They just stand up straight.
Yeah, exactly.
Their shoulders are back. Their head is high. They
Yeah.
believe they're worth something, and that's it. You just you deem it. You deem yourself worthy.
And yeah, and I think for myself, I did a lot of journaling. I'm just going to throw some tools
Yeah,
out there.
yeah,
I
that's
did a lot
great.
of journaling and mirror talk when I was going through my healing. Lots of journaling. Dear Eva, I love you. Dear Eva, you're awesome. Dear Eva, like wrote myself love letters, trying to boost my own self-confidence and self-esteem. You're fucking awesome, girl. Like, don't you let anybody treat you like shit anymore. And I was like, I don't know, 52 or 53 or however old I was when that was doing. Like you do what you got to do, and I did, to make yours, like, to believe that you are amazing, you are worthy, you're awesome, you're beautiful, you're all that in a bag of chips. Like, you have to do whatever it takes. And I know a lot of women just like, oh, I'm fat, or I'm ugly, or I'm old, or no, like, no, like, stop that. Like, start, like, that's a really shitty belief to have.
Right.
And it's very toxic. Like, why would you want to wake up every morning and go, oh, I'm old and I'm fat and I'm gross and I'm worthless? Why would you even, those thoughts don't serve you. So I would, and what could happen, what could possibly happen if you change those thoughts and woke up and go, hey, I feel good today, and I love my life, and I love who I am, and I'm going to see what I can do today. Like, try, like, just test it and see what could happen if you change that thought from a toxic, negative, soul sucking thought to, like, just make up a good thought. You don't have to believe it right away. Just make up a good thought and see what happens.
Yeah.
Like,
And
see what happens.
they talk about gratitude also. And because of my podcast, and we're talking about trauma a lot, I am so grateful. I'm grateful for everything I have. I'm grateful for I didn't, this isn't a podcast episode, but a friend of mine, her husband just died in his sleep and he was 53.
Oh, sorry.
And so every morning I'm like, oh, my husband's alive. And I interviewed somebody who was born with a limb difference, meaning her right hand was very small. So
Okay.
almost no right hand. And I have two hands that let me hold the racket. And
Yeah.
when you can see the world just through grateful eyes, there's nothing not to be grateful for.
No.
The rain or the sun or whatever's happening. And if I think really it just keeps coming back to loving what is. And
Yeah.
that's me in this body at this age right now, not wishing I was something different.
Right. That's so nice. I love that. Can we, we are going to wrap this up soon, but I just want to talk about, if we can, when you made the bold, ballsy move to decide, I'm going to be a photographer and I'm going to run my own business. But how did that happen?
Well, actually, so I went to that Toronto conference, and then the next weekend I went to the Forever Fierce conference in LA.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, in 2019. And so I was with a group of, and I didn't know anybody there. It was also on a whim. I was all whimmy that year. I met this lady that I kind of hung out with, and she was beautiful, but did not see it. That's all. And so I said, oh, can I take pictures of you? And I only had a cell phone, but I was like, I can see her beauty and I want to show it to her. And that weekend, it was right before my 52nd birthday, I realized, okay, I'm going to do a series called Yes, Yes Magic, which is a line I love from Streetcar Named Desire, and photograph 52 women in 52 weeks and show them their beauty. And the first 6 people I photographed with my cell phone before I actually even got a camera. So that's how crazy that is. And that they trusted me or believed me that I was a photographer.
Freeze.
So stupid, so
That's
stupid.
great. I love that.
But women are, I just found women are willing to, they wanted to share their story with me. And though I didn't use their story, it was the best part of the whole experience. Anyway, I shot, I think 25 before COVID hit.
Mm.
And then COVID allowed me to do a 60-day self-portrait series where every day I learned lighting in my own studio, and I was the very patient model, and that really kicked it all off. So COVID did suck, but also it was very beneficial for my learning curve.
So it reignited the fire in you to get your passion back again.
100%. I'm so in love. I think I edited this morning for like 4 hours, and I'm like, I got to do other things. But I'm just, awesome. I can't wait to see what I create. It's so beautiful. And then the same thing with my podcast. I know you said you don't edit, and it's torturous, and it is torturous, but again, it's a piece of art to me, and I'm crafting every little piece and cutting out all the extraneous stuff. The last person I edited said a lot, but there's not one in the podcast. So you're welcome.
Oh my God. I'll send you all my stuff to edit. I'm like, here, you do it. Yeah, I would rather.
It's definitely a heart project. It's a labor of love, and it's a real labor. So no, I'm not doing anybody else's.
I would rather chew shards of glass dipped in cyanide than edit anything. I get it. Yeah, like it's like it sucks the life out of me. But I have to give myself some credit. I think I edited one video. There was a 3-second part where I had to remove it. So I did that.
That's good.
Go Eva.
Yeah, well, I don't do video. I think it'd be really hard to edit video, but I just do audio. So it's very easy to make a transition.
Right. So we're going to finish here. For any woman who is listening, who, let's say, she has a dream, or she's got a little bit of a passion, or she's got that, I wish I could, or whatever, what little piece of advice would you give her if there's a woman in her 50s or whatever, and she wants to follow this passion, but she's not really sure? I don't know, maybe I'm too old. What would you tell her?
100%. I mean, just 100% follow your passion, because the doors open up. If you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, it's going to work out. You just have to trust that. And that's what that conference 2 years was telling me. And I mean, I had to go through a whole weekend to believe it. So you might need more than me just saying that. But
right.
The truth is, when you're working in your zone of genius, or where your passion lies, that's what you're here for, And so follow that dream, because life is short. And my mom used to say, she was a fine artist, but because she had 6 kids and was a paralegal, she used to say, "Oh, I'll paint when I retire."
Aww.
See how that turned out. So do not wait.
Yeah, life is way too short. Way too short. And when you chase for me, I did a lot of really scary things, and they were really scary, but I did it anyway. So you just have to follow your heart and go and see what happens, because miracles are around the corner. Like, the most amazing things happen when you step out of your comfort zone and you follow your heart. Like, it's almost like the universe says, well, it's about time. Have I got a surprise for you?
That really is so true.
Oh, yeah. It really is, because I remember when I left my relationship, I didn't have anything, right? I had no job, no belongings, no money, no nothing. And I literally put out a post on Facebook to my friends. I said, hey, I'm leaving this relationship and I need help. And like a million people, people I hadn't even heard from, came out of the woodwork. And within 2 weeks, I had a fully furnished, people, gave me glasses and bedding. I had everything I needed. And somebody lent me money for first and last month's rent. I got my job back. So people just came out of the woodwork and said, here, well, I'm help you. I have a truck. I can help you move. I have this. I have an old coat. And I was like, wow. So the universe surprises you.
And I think the key to a happy life is to believe that people are kind.
Yes.
That there's meanness in the world, but they're people are kind.
People do want to help. They truly
People
do
want to
want,
help.
they
They're
do.
mostly everybody's heart is open and good. And so if you're just stuck in the negative, I think that's a good thing to remember as well.
Yeah, people do truly want to help. It makes them feel like they're part of something.
Mhm.
And so actually, so you're doing like you're being, so here's a funny one. You're being selfish if you don't let people help you, because people do want to help you. Like they
Mhm.
generally want to open up their heart and go, here, I can help you. So let
Mhm.
people do that. Like let people, you know, help you. That would be great. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. This was great. Thanks for this
Yeah.
chat.
Thank you.
I
Thanks.
am going to I'm going to drop some links down below here in the description box on my YouTube video and over on the show notes on the podcast, where you can find Hara,
Hara.
Hara, where you can
Hara.
find Hara. And if you're in her area, Idaho, I don't even know where that is. So
That's funny. Well,
if you're,
I'm willing to travel also.
there you go. So if you're in her area, you can hook her up, check out some of her stuff, hook up with her and hire her to do some fun photo shoots. Her podcast link, all her links will be in the show notes in the description box below. Thank you so much for this really empowering and really just vulnerable, raw, and beautiful conversation. I got a lot out of it, and I hope that our viewers and listeners did too. So thank you
Thank
very
you.
much, Hara.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks.